Driftwood. I'm Driftwood, and this is Close Encounters. So tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Betty and Barney Hill story. Gone through and kind of put a little quick, exciting video together to sum up their trip, and then we're going to get into the events that happened afterwards. Live with me tonight is Jamie. Jamie, you want to say hi?
Hi.
All right. So we've got quite the lineup for you. Just want to make sure everybody's good to go. And yeah. Let's go ahead and start this little party.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
All right, this is the new intro. Woo!
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Okay, so tonight I've got Jamie with me, and we're going to be going over the Betty and Barney Hill. Jamie, how are you doing this evening?
Okay, how are you?
Great. So this is actually our second take. In case you missed the first take, I completely screwed up and did not have the volume up. So we're going to do this all again. She's been gracious enough to come back and, well, just run that videotape again. Oh my goodness, that's just crazy that just happened in the background. The video is continuing to play. Okay, we are prepared and ready to be sharing. So the reason I've actually asked Jamie to be live with me tonight is because, well, if you watch my videos, you know that I've had an experience. And I believe that Jamie might have something to offer that experience. Jamie, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jamie. I live in Eastern Oregon. And yeah, I've had a couple experiences. Well, I don't really want to go into them right now. I already kind of told you that.
Okay.
I'm a little uncomfortable to talk about that right now, but maybe another time. Anywho, I have met people that have had certain experiences concerning UFOs. I remember saying earlier, like, what do we call it? UFO?
EBE, so
EBEs.
extraterrestrial biological entity is the term of the day.
Anywho, I ran into quite a few people in the past couple of years or more. Up in the mountains, like right out of our little town called Weston, and yeah, some weird things have happened up there.
What's one of the craziest things you've heard?
One of the craziest things I've heard, kind of similar to this story with Betty and what is it, Betty and
Barney Hill?
Yeah, where they lost track in time.
Oh.
Where like they're up there in the mountains cutting wood, and then all of a sudden, like hours go by and they don't know what happened, and then they wake up on another side of the road or something, and they can't recall what happened. That was one of the experiences that someone told me, and I mean, there's others. There's several others, and my own and yours.
Wait, so we weren't going to go into your own experience. I mean, can you give us any details about your own particular experience? Was it with a...
Well, it happened up on the mountain, you know.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
Was it a UFO? So an
No,
actual spaceship, or?
I saw some things, like some things that are like in the trees, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm not really comfortable. I'm just not ready to tell people about it.
So she actually told me a little bit about it, and I decided that I would go searching. And lo and behold, you've probably seen this video that's been going around lately. In the video that's kind of gone viral, there's a gentleman out there, or a man outside of his house, and he's filming something in the trees. Now everything's shaking, and he's talking about the size of the tree branches that are breaking. And, well, quite honestly, when I look at it and I see all the trees shaking, it reminds me of Predator. Okay,
Yeah,
so Arnold Schwarzenegger,
what
if
do you
you're
mean?
around.
I don't remember. I remember the movie. Are you talking about the movie?
The movie Predator. Yeah.
Oh.
So you remember the alien, he had the camouflage that went over his body, and the eyes that glowed like green, and then he was
No, I
chucking
don't
spears
remember.
through people,
I'm terrible.
like
I have a
high
terrible
tech
memory.
spears. All right,
Wait,
What-
what year was that?
that was the 80s. Yeah, it was the late 80s.
I
think
was
I'm
thinking
aging
like
myself.
the Predator, like the. Well, I was born in 1983, and I love the 80s movies.
Yeah.
They rock. But
What's your favorite 80s movie?
E.T. Phone Home.
E.T. phone.
That was definitely in the 80s.
So
oh my
cute.
god, I love that movie. Wow, that's a good movie. Everybody loves that movie if they were born in like.
He had a finger
The
that
80s.
lit up. And a belly too, and he was phoning home all the time. Can you imagine the bill he had? I hope he had Galaxy. Sorry, Samsung Galaxy. Cheap service. No, I'm just kidding.
I like iPhone better.
She's an iPhone person.
I used
personally
to.
am not.
Yeah, but have you tried the iPhone? No.
I can't figure it out.
Actually, iPhone's way easier than any Galaxy phone, and iPhone has. Not that we're talking about phones, like oh my gosh,
Talking about
but anywho, iPhone has their own like installation where it's installed on the phone, where you don't have to have any no viruses or anything will bother your phone. It's just amazing.
So like malware or something like that.
Oh
to knock
yeah,
it
they
out.
have their own thing. You don't have to download any malware. You don't get any commercials and all that.
So
crap.
if you have an iPhone and you think this thing just kills the viruses before they get there, if you think it can take out the brand new bird flu, if you think you can take out the COVID-19,
I'm talking about.
let me know.
I'm not talking
and
about.
all the other.
Oh my god. Stop. I'm talking about like just phone viruses.
Phone viruses.
Anyhow, back to the subject.
Okay, so Benny and Barney Hill. All right, so they decided that they needed to go on a little vacation. They hadn't had a honeymoon when they got married in the late 50s.
I'm sorry, wait a second. Who the heck are they again?
Okay, so Benny.
This is where I'm
Betty
confused. Like,
and
he told me
Barney
about this, and
Hill.
I'm like, who are they? What?
All
Okay,
right.
go.
Oh, if you let me, can I go?
Yeah.
All right. So Betty and Barney Hill, late 50s couple, freshly married, interracial couple, and that actually plays into a lot of the psychology that, well, one of them was going through. Being an interracial couple back in the 50s and 60s, I'm sure it caused a lot of stress. I don't know, I wasn't there, but it sounds like the report says that there was some involved.
Okay, so what is the whole point of this?
The whole point is that there is
my,
a huge,
babe.
huge story, and they were abducted.
Oh,
That's right.
So were they the first to be abducted ever?
I don't think they were the first in human history.
Okay.
Probably not by a long shot, since we actually see pictures of orbs. We see things on the Great Pyramid of Giza. We go down that rabbit hole.
Sorry to interrupt you, but so they were like one of the first human beings to actually report it, kind of thing?
I would say in the new American world, after World War II, there were just massive sightings. Things had changed. The nuclear bomb had dropped, and it sounds like beings out there were like, whoa, they're playing around with the nukes.
So this Barney and Betty
Hill.
So they were like the first. This is what I'm asking you. Were they the first to like go public with this
Well,
ET thing?
they actually didn't go public right away. It actually took them quite a while before they kind of worked up the gumption to do it. They weren't sure what exactly had happened. They knew that, well, Barney was having terrible nightmares after the incident, and Betty was having terrible nightmares. They couldn't figure out where these were coming from. So after a while, well, and seeing many shrinks, many counselors, and actually going to the military, Air Force, to talk to a shrink, a psychologist or psychiatrist that did hypnotherapy. And they were actually able to do actual hypnotherapy at a different level, not just the old chime your watch back and forth and watch what happens. You're going into a deep trance, but real stuff, kind of like that Project Gateway they weren't working on ever.
What are you talking about?
We're not going to go down that rabbit hole today, but we will someday. So
You confuse me
sometimes I confuse myself.
Hey,
This is
anyhow,
true.
so Barney and Betty basically saw saucers or something? Because it was
That's-
like in 1960, what?
1961 and 2.
Okay, so back then they called them saucers.
That's right. They called them flying saucers.
Flying
Back then,
saucers.
they weren't UFOs. No, it was like when they saw them, it looked like two plates pushed together, and there were large silvery objects with shining lights on it, and they just called it flying saucers. It was all the rage back then. Kind of has died out here and there along the course of history, getting to where we're at here in 2024. But
So
so
so Betty and Barney
so Betty and Barney, I'll
were
tell you
one
what,
of the first few that like brought it to the public about seeing flying saucers.
that's
And
correct.
I can imagine back then, like actually going public with that. And plus, they were an interracial
Interracial couple.
yeah.
Yes,
so
that's what they called it.
That had been hard for them back then in 1960, whatever.
I'll tell you what, we're going to get into that after we play this little clip that I put together just to kind of show the highlights of how this might have gone with Betty and Barney Hill.
Oh, Betty,
Betty and Barney Hill. There we go. All right, and this is the Betty.
Oh, boy. They're reenacting the whole thing with Betty and Barney.
Yep. Like a satellite. These graphics are hard to see.
Interesting.
Okay, so it looks like that thing's creeping on them. No.
Yeah. And it's going different directions and whatnot.
I think it probably freaked out a
Well,
little bit.
this looks like a reenactment, obviously, because back then they didn't video it, but no.
Or have HD.
Or any of that, you know. But this is actually Barney and Betty speaking, correct?
Yeah, so this is actually live commentary of them. This
So
is their actual call in to
Okay.
talk about the incident.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Right on. That's great. Good stuff. So that's just like kind of a little bit there about Barney and Betty and their experience um, in the beginning.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what it is. So after they had actually returned after they had returned from their visit, they didn't remember that much, and that's why the video stops there. You see,
Wait,
Betty,
what? What do you mean?
well, Betty and Barney Hill didn't remember the entire incident. They remembered little bits and pieces, but they weren't even really willing to talk about it with each other. Their
Really?
communication after this incident, after, and this is a very mild reenactment compared to the actual testimony of Betty Hill that has recently been aired. If you can go out there, this testimony is Betty Hill. She's still as sharp as ever and able to tell the story.
I don't think she's alive anymore.
Well, I don't think she's alive anymore either, but they did dig
But
up
at
this
the
footage.
time, before she passed away, they did.
So this is
an
after
interview or
this.
something.
Yeah. So this
Oh, okay.
interview was after Barney had passed away and Betty was still alive and never remarried. So I mean, that's got to tell you something, right? She never remarried, but you know.
Actually, I did see like part of the interview,
Mhm.
and she still had her wedding ring on after like
Oh,
45 years of her husband passing.
that's
so
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, he was a good guy. He sounded like he was a hard worker, bright, kept to himself for the most part.
Well, and I think that he was probably paranoid
Mhm.
to exploit himself on the subject of flying saucers, extraterrestrial, and all that. Because back then, people talked about it, but the people that talked about it were called crazy and dumb and you know what you're talking about kind of thing.
So not a lot has changed,
Yeah.
even though it's
Mhm.
been out in the face of the public for as long as can be.
Absolutely.
And it seems like the evidence is, I would say, insurmountable that there are these life forms.
Oh, I mean, there is so much that we could show you. I mean,
Yeah.
concerning this subject. I mean,
Yeah.
yes. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and we will bring and put stuff out going further, but
Yeah.
it seems like right now it is beginning to open the door again, so that the people that have had these experiences, like Betty and Barney Hill, not are able to come out and talk about these things and actually do it in an open light where it's not so crazy anymore. Because, well, let's be real, we know they're there.
Well, I believe that they're coming back again, or I mean, maybe they've always been here, kind of thing. And earlier you asked me about my faith.
Yeah,
I
that's true. And
that's a big thing for people. I'm pretty sure. Like
Well-
if you're a Christian and you believe in God, and you know, which I do, and you do too,
yeah,
and we're both very spiritual people. I mean, I'm still spiritual. I still believe in God. I believe that maybe like this kind of action going on right now is probably in the Bible. You just gotta look for it, and maybe it's interpreted differently in the Bible, kind of thing,
okay.
or maybe it was written differently, or someone wrote. Like I don't know. I just know that I have faith in God, no matter what.
Mhm.
I always will. And always
Do
be
you
Christian.
consider yourself spiritual?
Absolutely. Yes.
Nice. Mhm.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, you know, meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
and I'm
good.
spiritual within God. I didn't know that. Yeah.
So, kind of getting back to a little different subject here. So you said you had an experience. Now you know about
We
my
already
experience.
talked about that. Why do you keep
But-
going at that?
You were also there when with my experience that I presented out there so
Okay.
blasphemically.
I'm not really sure which
last
one
week.
you told people. So fill me in here.
Okay, so the portal, or the ship that we saw directly over us and just sell. Why don't you?
So I'm sorry. You told
Did
people
you?
about that?
I did tell people about that.
When did you do that? And
Oh,
tell me.
Live
boy.
on the air. What was that, last week?
Oh my. What did people think about that?
Actually, I've gotten a pretty good response. I've gotten a ton of emails. I've gotten videos, pictures, links to people that feel the same way.
Oh, right on.
And for everybody out there who send me videos of orbs that I've been able to actually zoom in on and take a look at, from people that have just sent me their experience, like 2-page letters of their experience, and I can read it, and just
Really?
the authenticity of it
Right
is
on.
amazing. To those people that have reached out and seen my videos, thank you. That is wonderful. It's great. It definitely gives me the energy to keep going forward, as much as a subscribe and a like. So don't forget to subscribe and like if you like the content or the talks we have here. So Jamie, back to the subject that you just wanted to avoid there. So, come on, let's hear it. August 13th, 10:30 at night. Just before the kiddo came up. 2 weeks before the kiddo came up.
Not doing it. We'll do it another time. Remember, I said that, honey. It makes me a little nervous. I don't know. Like, we saw things in the sky together at the same time, and we asked each other the same questions, like, did you see it? And I said yes, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I'm just not ready to share that right now, and I feel like you just put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot. Do you feel like this is part of the stigma? You know that stigma? If you've seen something and you want to say something, doesn't it feel like there might be a stigma out there? Like that pressure to be judged, even if you know it to your very core to be true? Like there's nothing else that makes sense. Do you feel that stigma?
Yes, I do, but I don't like to be pressured into it either.
Okay, well, I won't be pressuring into that tonight.
Okay.
That's just not fair.
Thank you.
Okay, but I do have one more video that I wanted to go over, and this is what we were talking about earlier. So the man with the video of the thing crawling through the trees, and what can it be? He says it could be a bear, but it's way bigger, and he doesn't want to be on the ground when it gets to him. I agree with him.
I'll be right back with you. I have to use the restroom.
Let's go ahead. Seriously, what is in the trees, guys? Anybody know what's in the tree? If you've been able to zoom in and find out, I want to know. Please hit me up. It seriously, it looks like the predator.
Hold on, let me see. What is that?
It's like the predator is in the tree. Remember the movie Predator?
No, I can't remember the movie. I don't see any. The thing is I don't see anything, but it's like thrashing the tree.
It's thrashing the tree. And now I've gone through extensive lengths to slow this down and zoom in.
Yeah.
And the closest I've even come to looked like something that was wearing, I don't know, like a camouflage skin. Okay, so whatever it is, just
Whoa.
busted that huge chunk of the tree. What, is that it? Oh, that was it right there. Did you see it?
Yeah, and then it's like through this whole video, he's like, oh my god. He's like, it's not a bear. It can't be a bear.
Okay, we're gonna go back. I want to see that one more time.
Oh, that little part right there. Wait. That's scary.
Okay, so right. That. Oh. Okay, so they did. So they saw something new too, and they zoomed back in.
I mean, he has his flashlight on him. That's about it.
Holy cow! Call Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Stop.
I'm telling you, we need him. The Predator, we need him. We need the Predator killer thingy here. Does that mean that there's aliens that look like that
I
too?
definitely have to watch this movie again that you're talking about. Well, I believe he keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I think I'm gonna bounce before I get hurt. Uh-huh.
East and down south with that accent.
Wait.
Dang. Holy schnuckerdoodles. That is
Scary.
that's something else, right?
Yeah.
So in the trees, they're in the trees. I mean, I know somebody that told me about their experience once and had seen them in the trees, and of course, when I heard it, I was like, well, you probably need to be on medication, but you lo and behold, a few years later, I have an experience, and I had an apology, big time, a big old apology.
Mm-hmm.
So, dang, guys, girls, people, things, places that may be watching us. Tonight's been, well, a little bit of a ride. And I wanted to, actually wanted to thank Jamie by giving her a little gift there. We're not sponsored by Hershey's, but we do love Hershey's. So if you ever thought about, putting a little driftwood on there, that'd work.
Oh.
There you go.
I love chocolate.
Thank you so much for being on the show this evening.
Good now.
Well, we're going to have you back again because we're going to get that story
Wait a
out
minute.
of you.
I don't like dark chocolate.
It's a good thing I do.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's right.
I love chocolate, no matter what kind it is.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Keep looking up because they are out there. This is Driftwood.
Mm-hmm.
This has been Close Encounters, and it's been a good time. We'll see you soon. Boom.